The Ohanaeze Igbo worldwide now has a new President General, Senator John Azutambata from Rivers State. Together with his executives, what should be their immediate preoccupation looking at the state of our Igbo and how best to undertake the responsibility of carrying all sections and shades of opinions along, making Eastern Nigeria a more livable homeland. This is the Eastern Eye. I'm Alex Ogbodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, the program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. Joining me tonight on the Eastern Eye is Dr. Tony Onyima. He's a public policy advisor, communication consultant, author, and former commissioner for information, Anambra State. He will be joining us virtually from Lagos. Also on the program tonight is Igbonekwu Ogazimorah, editor-in-chief of the SBS Great Interviews and former commissioner for information, Enugu State. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the Eastern Eye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Onyima, for joining us tonight. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Thank you, Alex, and Happy New Year to Igbonekwu.
Hey, Tony, my man.
All right.
Long time, man.
I guess I've triggered a reunion here.
Yeah.
But let me take my program back. Let me start with you, Dr. Onyima. Senator John Azutambata is the new Ohanaeze President General. I saw the piece you did, by the way, I read it. And let's situate it now. It looks like this may well be the most publicized election of the Ohanaeze Igbo as yet. So do you think that will work to the advantage of this new executive? Or would it be a problem?
Thank you, Alex. I think the election of a distinguished senator, it's a landmark event in the history of Ohanaeze Igbo, in the sense that it offers an opportunity for us to right a lot of wrongs, and it offers an opportunity for healing and bring the Igbo nation together to face the challenges, enormous challenges that is facing us as a sub-national group in Nigeria. So I see the personality of distinguished Senator Mbata impacting on the new vision, how we will interact and relate with the other sub-nationals in the country.
All right, thank you for that. Let me come to you, Igbonekwu Ogazimorah. Senator Azutambata, let's just give us a little context, because just 24 hours or even less than that before the election, Mike Okiro, former IG of police, pulled out of the race, citing court cases were filed in that regard. Help us put this in perspective. Do you think that this is probably a great opportunity for Senator John Azutambata to actually create that uniting force that may be missing, especially now that we have him from Rivers State, and all this while it's been rotating within the core Eastern Heartland. Now that he is in the saddle, what would you have him do the next few months or even the next few years?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, there's something important you have to remember. Senator Mbata is not the first non-core, let me not use Koibo, let me say Southeast. Yeah, there was Francis Ela and there was Obiwani from the same river. We have had Wechef, Delta. Only that we haven't had Benue, we haven't had Kogi, we haven't had Edo, we haven't had Cross River, we haven't had Akwa. And these are places where you also have good representation of people. Maybe in due time it will come to be. maybe Mbata may work towards expanding to net in those areas. Because what I see in what Ohanaeze is doing is one effort in reclamation of the Igbo area. Because in reality, you know, after the war, the British government and the federal government wanted the Igbo to be seen to be only in East Central Spain. And they succeeded for a very long time, close to 40, before the reality started returning. The reality had been there, but it now started returning. Maybe Mbata can expand, further expand that. Igbos are in 13 states, Nigeria, and in good. So if he does that, that is good. But then their job should not end there. Can the president, that is Senator Mbata, depart from others, being rare Oha and Eze, Oha na Eze? You know, it wasn't there before. We only have the Ezes. Why they call it Ohanaeze? What we have there is the Eze. So the Oha are excluded. Maybe he will bring in the Oha in. That is why there's a lot of hostility or suspicion against Ohanaeze, because it does not represent the people. Secondly, can they afford to depart from being tools of the state governor? The state governors, you know, that is why you have a problem with the election. Indeed, let me say, there was not an election. There was selection by the governor. The governors, and it has been like that. Since Ohanaeze became highly political, where the presidency is interested, the bulk of the governors interested. That, and they now determine who leads Ohanaeze. So I'm not sure if they have election, real election, that Mbata will win. He may win, but then there is the likelihood that others, Uche Okuku may win, Michael Kiro may win. But the governors determine everything. It is up to Mbata to add to the credibility of the leadership of Ohanaeze by letting the Ohanaeze determine who leads, not the governor. And that is why many people believe that Ohanaeze is a mere tool of the governor.
All right, and that brings me to the question, which I'll ask Dr. Tony Onyima. How will Ohanaeze really be independent without the governors in the Southeast? I mean, would it really, is it really possible? Let me ask that question like that. For Ohanaeze and Igbo to be independent of the governors of the Igbo-speaking state that currently constitute its membership?
Yes, it is possible, but the way it is currently constituted, it is not possible unless the organization is restructured along the line of what my friend has just submitted. Unless the organization is restructured along that line. But for now, the way it's structured, the governors will continue to play a prominent position in its operations for obvious reasons. Like he pointed out, the Eze and Oha, the Eze will always have his way, while the Oha will agitate. And at the end of the day, we believe that the Ezes will have the overall interest of the Oha in mind in their decisions. So it's assumed or subsumed that the Ezes will always have the interest of the Oha in what they do. But frankly speaking, moving forward, it has the Ohanaeze has come a long way. It's now time for us to begin to look at each structure, because as it is, it's a representative organization, the 7 states that make it up, and those 7 states are the ones that that eventually constitute the body. And even those 7 states, 5 are very active. At times, 1 is less concerned. And with the election of Mbata now, we want to believe that River State, the subnational group of Ikwere and the rest of others, will be very active in the body. And once we put all the subnational groups, subgroups together, we can then begin to talk of restructuring it to bring the other majority of OHA together. But as it is now, the governors will continue to have major influence in the operations of the body.
How do you bring them together? Because that's where the problem is. How do we bring all the major interests together, moving forward to whatever promised land we are looking at? How is that going to be possible?
That is the major challenge facing the new leadership now. That is what they must achieve, bringing everybody together. The fact that the election took place and somebody from River State emerged is an indication that everybody is ready to come together now. The governors have a lot to play now to bring everybody together. Once, even if it's only unity that this new leadership achieves in its tenure, that would have been a very, very monumental achievement. Bringing everybody together to speak with one voice is a major task. And it can only be done through diplomacy, everybody through humility. And I see him but having the personality, the state of mind to achieve that, given his pedigree. It's only for all us, the OHA, to support the effort of uniting all other groups. Once we do that, and we can only do that through our both body language and how we talk. Once we have this sense that everybody, all of us are in the same, we belong to the same Igbo nation. It's through assurance that will make every other person very comfortable.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me come to you, also Igbonekwu Ogazimorah. It looks like everyone is setting an agenda for Senator Azuta Mbata. But the question will be, just like Dr. Onyima is saying, bring everyone together, bring everyone together. Is it possible that not everyone wants to come together? What about those who don't want to join the fold? What happens?
No, there's no problem there. What I believe Dr. Onyima is saying is this. You know, when you democratize, those who want to play a part will come in to play a part. The Igbo is a Republican society, and it is very easy to achieve cohesion if it is democratized. If you have democracy, the Igbo will thrive, because even in their own traditional political setting, each Igbo man believes he is what? The same thing the billionaire Igbo man wants. That if it is not his turn today, it may be his turn tomorrow. So, if you democratize Ohanaeze, everybody will be interested. And that is why I am pointing out that the governors playing the dominant roles they are playing is dangerous to Ohanaeze. It is going to kill Ohanaeze sooner than later. Because when people, ordinarily an Igbo man, when he thinks that my coming into this place is meaningless in terms of my personal impact, but to come and hear out what the potentates have decided, very few Igbo men will be interested in that. If you democratize Ohanaeze, for instance, you have Ohanaeze at what level? You have Ohanaeze at local government level. You have Ohanaeze at state level. Then you have the pan-Igbo Ohanaeze, that's national. Everybody will be interested. People will start taking their leadership trainings from what level to the local government to the state, and then begin to aspire to the national. But if you leave it at this stage where the governors search for either pliable individuals or manageable individuals or network persons, people who are rich, people who are connected, people who have been godfathers to them, to come and lead it as a retirement benefit or as a support not to entirely fall, but to keep on standing big. Right? Ohanaeze will not try. It is not going to achieve anything. The Igbo are not Yoruba. They are not Hausa. You may have this kind of thing where the governors sit down and decide who becomes the Ohanaeze head. It is for a time. It is not. It cannot be the same thing. Why you may do that in the north, you may do that in the southwest. You may not do that for a very long time in Igbo land. And when Dr. Onyima mentioned the way it is structured, there is a plank I suspect he is looking at, and that plank is funding. Right? Ohanaeze is controlled by the governors because of funding. That is the central thing. You understand? Because of funding. When those executive members want to go for medical checkup abroad, they give them money to do that. Their daughters or their sons are married, they are funded. That is where they control the Ohanaeze. That is where they determine what the Ohanaeze does. And that is why Ohanaeze cannot set up a radical political brand to work for it. A radical research brand, political research, social research, or economic research branch to do certain things. Because they will ask the governors what do they think. I remember I worked with somebody who once thought about a like Abuja city in Igbo land, a central city in Igbo. The late Senator Chukwu Merija was involved, and the idea was to establish a kind of Abuja in Igbo land, not Enugu, not Owerri, not all this, a virgin city in central area. But the moment it got to Ohanaeze, they died because they took it to the governors, and the governors didn't buy it. The governors cited certain reasons why they were not trusted, and they died. So, the matter is, if you want to take it from the control of the governor, you have to democratize. The lower ladders can fund 1,000 naira a year by members from the ward, from the local government level, can fund the Ohanaeze higher than what the governors are. But to commence will take a little time. But once it starts, by the way, the old Igbo State Union, headed by HUB, who funded it? Not Eastern Region. That organization organized the highest rescue operation besides Eastern Nigerian government during the program, organizing lorries to go and take Igbos from the north back to the They were paid. They sent a lot of persons on scholarship to England. One governor I know, he told me his father was sent to England to study by Igbo State University. There was no government funding, funded from the grassroots. So it was not like anybody was relying on Eastern regional government. And by the way, Eastern regional government then included, Eastern region included, all these Akwa Ibom, Rivers, and the rest of them. So you see, the way out is to democratize it. Take it from the governor. Not to exclude the governors, they are also Igbos.
Okay. All right, great. We'll come back to that. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, I'd like to find out from Dr. Tony Onyima exactly how we can democratize Ohanaeze. I mean, it will look rather odd having to discuss this. It's Oha and Eze, and we're talking about democratizing it. How will that happen? That's when we'll return. Stay with us. So welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. My name is Alex Ogbodo. So, Dr. Onyima, how do we democratize Ohanaeze and Igbo and enable it fund itself? Just like also Igbonekwu Ogazimorah has pointed out, that the Igbo State Union generated its own money. It didn't need the funding of the then Eastern Nigeria to survive. It was self-funded. Is it possible in 2025, 2026, 2027 maybe, or even 2028 to have that in place?
Alex, it is possible if the governors will have the courage to do that, because they will still, even if we are going to democratize Ohanaeze Igbo, the governors will play a very major role. The challenge the body currently has is that it's a socio-cultural organization, but playing a political role. So the vision and mission has to be properly defined if it will still remain a socio-cultural organization, because the governors cannot have two captains in one ship. But once we have a consensus to democratize it, we already have structures through which we can be democratized. For instance, the town unions in...
Yes, you said the town unions. Then we lost you at that point.
Yes, the town unions are already made structures that can be used to restructure, to democratize the body. All the town unions, for instance, it can be a delegate election based on equity, based on the number of town unions. For instance, we said, okay, each town union elects 10 people that will represent you at the Ohanaeze. It becomes a college of people from the different town unions in the 7 states, and the number of the national executive. However, who finances this? That is the challenge. And even if you tax the town union, it will bring a lot of acrimony. For that reason, I would rather have a mix of the two concepts, where the governors will still play a role, but not the kind of domineering role they are currently having. If the governors will have the courage and whittle down the leadership up to the community level, I think it will give the body a new face and a new trust and a new challenge.
All right, thank you. Also, Ogazimorah, do you see the governors, relinquishing their pretenses over Ohanaeze as it is constituted currently? Do you see those pretenses going away anytime soon? In the context of what Dr. Onyima said, talking about the Ohanaeze, which is supposed to be a socio-cultural organization, but finds itself playing a political role.
Well, I don't know why you call it pretend. The governors are not pretending.
No, it's not. It's not in that sense. But rather, I mean the control they have, the authority they have. That's the point.
Yes, you see why they are not going to relinquish. They do not want the kind of situation where they want Ohanaeze to be part of the established, not to sing a discordant tune. That is why they don't want, they won't relinquish. Because if you have an independent Ohanaeze with its own form, that Ohanaeze can take a stand which may be more popular among the poor people in the full Igbo, which is like pulling the rug under the governor's feet. They will not want. They will fight. Right? Dr. Onyima just said something now. He said they are socio-cultural, but they are playing political role. Indeed, the socio-cultural is only name. They are pure political. Right? That was why in the past they were saying we are supporting this person in the presidency. We are supporting the other person. And that is why even the presidency is interested. They do not want such a mobilization institute, such organization that becomes a social arm in the country, that we say this is our stand. And if indeed it goes back to grassroots, in which case the stand it takes reflects close to 70% of the view of the Igbo, it may come in antagonism against the federal government, against the state government. So there is likely to be a political conflict. And that is why the governors are not likely going to relinquish their hold.
Okay, so let me stay with you and find out what you think about the identity angle to all this talk, Ohanaeze currently. I'm sure you will have seen it. Some group coming up to say that Ikwere youth, whatever, they don't support this and they don't support that. There is an identity angle. Do you think that the time has come for that identity politics played, especially within the southern part of the country? But you are Igbo, you are not Igbo. But you say you are Igbo, but your surname is Igbo, but you are saying you are not Igbo. I'm just putting it like this in order for it not to sound off. But then we hear it, it's there. And I'm sure with the emergence of Senator Mbata, you've seen that a lot, especially on social media and even when people discuss a lot of things. Will it ever stop? Do you think it will go away anytime soon? And what do you think is fueling it?
It is not going away. Reason, it pays politically to disown the Igbo identity. It brings in a lot of political process to deride the Igbo, to run down the Igbo, to disown the Igbo. For those places that look like they are fringe, it pays them. When you look at those who are saying that, you see their motivation. It's never hidden. Before, I don't know what age or what job the other man from Rivers State was doing when Francis Ela was the president, when Obiwale was the president. But these are men from his place. But for him to voice it out, he is actually not talking to the Igbo. He is talking to certain paymasters. And he is being rewarded. So many others are like that. Do not forget, there was a war. And in the course of that war, an operation was set and got underway to dismember the Igbo, to get some people to disown the Igbo. The federal government then did everything possible to get the world to see the Igbo as people from only the former East Central State. And some areas were even carved from that former East Central State into some other states, and were asked or paid to say they are not, because of the economic resources in their place, particularly crude oil and gas. And it's been going on. So it is not going to go away. Mbata is not going to remove it. More people are going to say that. So many people, there was something Ojukwu said. A lot of people will live their life, run their cozy career, and end their life denying Igbo identity. Should they do the otherwise, they will come to the penury and rejection of the central. And many people do not want it because of the economic gain.
All right. Dr. Onyima, I would like to get your thoughts on this. Identity politics, it's there also, it's reared its head, even with the emergence of Mbata. What are your thoughts about it? Do you think it will go away? Do you have a different view from Ozo Igbonekwu or Ogazimorah? Do you think we'll go to the stream and then have a bath and it goes away? I don't know what the stream in your town is called. I think you're from Idemili. I think, yes. So if the stream in your place can wash away identity politics, is it possible that we should all head to our streams? My own is called Ofam. Should I go there and then I have my bath? Identity politics goes away. Will it go away anytime soon?
Yeah, Alex. We must contextualize this thing. We must also understand that identity politics is a global phenomenon. It's not just about our brothers and sisters in River State. My happiness is that the generation that using this identity politics to their own selfish end, that generation seems to be facing away. If you notice, 50 years after the war, a new generation has emerged. You can see some very young people, very proud of their heritage, asserting that they are Igbo, and they've been doing a lot of things online from these areas we talk about, from some parts of Delta and River State. That new generation is what gives me hope that to a great extent, the identity politics the old generation played for economic reasons, as pointed out by my friend, that will be greatly reduced. But for it to be swept away entirely, I doubt whether it will, because even before the war, that identity politics was still there, and it was just exacerbated by the politics of that war. Beyond our brothers and sisters in the Delta and Rivers, identity politics also played at the national level. So I don't expect that this will go away, but I'm hopeful that the new generation will reduce the impact of the identity politics as they assert their heritage more and more. Because if you see what many of them are doing in the social media, telling their brothers how they've been deceived for years, when once more of this young generation begins to embrace the truth, I think it will reduce greatly. And that is where the challenge of Senator Mbata is and his executive. assuring these people the fact that he was a consensus candidate among the governors. I must say also at this point, it seems to me that the fact that the governor settled for Mbata, all of them seem to be making a point that is the time for us to turn a new leaf and move ahead as brothers and sisters.
All right, I think that will be a good place to leave it for tonight. It is still an ongoing conversation. Of course, we're heading to January 15th, another big day in the life of Eastern Nigeria. I have to thank you so much. Dr. Tony Onyima, Public Policy Advisor, Communication Consultant, Author, and former Commissioner for Information and Culture, Anambra State. Thank you so much for your perspectives on the Eastern Eye tonight.
Thank you, Alex.
And also Igbonekwu Ogazimorah, Editor-in-Chief of the SBS Great Interviews and former Commissioner for Information, Enugu State. Thank you so much for your enlightening perspectives on the Eastern Eye.
Thank you very much.
All right, and that's the Eastern Eye for tonight. We'll be here sometime tomorrow. Up next is Nka with Jumaya Bulama Ashebu. My name is Alex Ogbodo. Good night.